Hi, my name is Wendy Kenzel, and I'm an occupational therapist and creator of the Possibility Shaper method. And I want to give you an opportunity to get to know me. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have a occupational therapy degree from University of Washington in 1998 as a Bachelor of Science, and then a Master's of Science from Boston University in 2007. And so that's a small part of my training, but really my training has come from the families and the students that I've served. And when I first became an occupational therapist, the children and families, they took my heart. And I said, wow, this is the population I want to be working with. And I've worked in the schools with children and families ever since 1988. Alongside that, I've studied some universal design principles and also worked as an ergonomic job coach on site, working with adults. So I did that at the same time as I worked with children and families in the schools. What's so fascinating is that I'm come here to do this, is that when I first started working in the schools, I was very nervous and apprehensive about giving any advice or insights to parents at all, because I just felt that parents were already pretty overwhelmed. And it is my belief, and it continues to be my belief, that parents are doing the best that they can with what they have and what they know. You're doing your best. And I know that. And I believe in that. So I was a little nervous about, sharing ideas with parents. But, parents ask questions. And they kept on coming to me. And so there was a parent who had lots of questions about her first child. And then she came to me about her second child. And she says, Wendy, you don't know my little girl, but she's having such a hard time. She just won't hang up her coat. She just refuses. And I don't know how to get her to hang up her coat. I'm wondering, since you did so good with my other child and you answered some questions that were just critical, can you help me with my daughter? I said, well, I can ask you a few questions. I mean, I can't do too much because I don't know her and I don't know your home life, but I can ask a few questions. So let's start there. And so I said, well, can you tell me first, let's start out with what you tried. And she said, well, I've tried all the parenting techniques, and so I've done first then. I've made a schedule, put it by the door that has pictures of a coat, of a backpack, and then go play. And I posted that by the door so she would know what to do when she came home. And I also said, put up a reward system that if she hangs up her coat 7 days in a row, then she gets some ice cream, and she just hasn't done it. And let me tell you, Wendy, every time I use these strategies with her, they always work. So I don't understand why these parenting methods that I've learned that have been working aren't working now. So I asked her, have you ever seen your daughter hang up her coat? And the mom says, well, sure I have. She hangs up her coat at Grandma's all the time. Grandma's magic. And I just can't get her to do it. I said, okay. Have you seen her hang up her coat at your house? And she says, I don't know that I have. I said, well, is it possible that the coat hanger at Grandma's house is at a different height than the coat hanger at your house? And maybe the coat hanger at your house is out of reach. She says, I don't know. I would think they're the same. And I said, I don't know. I'm just offering. And so she went home. And the next week comes. I'm in that building once a week. She comes back to me and she says, Wendy, you were right. The coat hanger was too high. We bought one of those little plastic coat hanger things and we stuck it on the wall next to the door. And do you know, now she's hanging up her coat every day and it's not a stress. It's not a fight. We figured it out. Thank you. Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm so glad that you figured it out what works for you and your family. She says, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to tell everybody about this. I've already gone to a parent meeting and told them what you told me. So don't be surprised if you see other people coming up to you and thanking you. And do you know that they did? They came up to me and said, oh, you're the OT. Thank you so much. My child's now hanging up their coats. And so, wow. When parents get a good idea, that spreads like wildfire. But the whole thing is that that showed me that when I can give a specific question to a parent, then it doesn't have to be stressful. We can take away the stress. We can take away that feeling of overwhelm because now they know the question to ask, that perspective to take, so they can figure out what makes sense for their family. And so I kept on thinking after that, how can I take what I know, what I've seen in the schools? I've seen hundreds of kids in the schools, worked with hundreds of families, maybe more, I haven't counted, but it's over 20 years. And if I can take, when I go into any place and I look at what somebody is doing, I work with kids from age 3 to age 21 going out into the workplace. And so I go everywhere and I look at certain questions go through my mind as I'm looking at things and certain things that I train people in. And if I can take that and package it and open up that for the general public, so then you can release that stress of not knowing some of these questions to ask. So you can figure out what works for you and makes sense for you. Wow. Wow. By asking, if I can give you my eyes, my perspective, give you a little bit of training, you can make amazing changes in your home to support your child, to participate more, to perform better, to playfully practice these skills that you're trying to teach them. And suddenly, success is in reach. So I hope that you've found something useful in this presentation today as I told you about myself. And maybe you have an idea of something that you can change in your home. And I have lots more stories to tell. I have stories to tell for helping kids that don't understand how the world works, or they don't, they're not able to filter out the background environmental stimulus, or they're paying attention to the wrong things and you want them to pay attention over here. How do you do that? And there are certain techniques for that. So I have lots more stories to tell, and I hope you can join me for those stories and have an opportunity to learn what might work for you. All right. Thank you so much.